She invited me out. Let's grab dinner. Then she brought 3 friends and said, "You're paying, right?" A gentleman always pays. I replied, "For dates, yes." Then I asked the waiter for separate checks, paid mine, and walked out, leaving them with a $840 bill. The text I got later calling me a broke loser while they were washing dishes. My name is Kevin, 34M, and I work as a Senior Special Investigations Unit, SIU, investigator for a major commercial insurance carrier. My entire life revolves around detecting deception. I spend my days reviewing claims where a business owner swears a rogue wave washed away his inventory, only for me to find traffic camera footage of him loading that same inventory into a U-Haul 2 hours prior. I deal in facts, evidence, and the specific language of liability. I can smell adverse selection, the tendency of high-risk individuals to seek out insurance, from a mile away. So you might ask, Kevin, with all this training, how did you end up as the target of a seafood tower scam? It's a fair question. The answer is that fraud evolves. I matched with Tiffany, 26F, on a dating app. Her profile was clean, no red flags. She listed her job as a dental hygienist, stable, licensed professional. She laughed at my dry jokes. And crucially, on our first date, coffee, she physically blocked my hand from paying and tapped her own card. In my industry, we call this the lure. It's a small, calculated loss designed to build trust for the major heist later. I fell for it. I thought I had found a unicorn. I didn't realize the unicorn was just a donkey in a glitter suit plotting to empty my wallet. We had been on 4 dates, all solid. Then, last Tuesday, the setup occurred. She texted me at 2 p.m. "Tiffany, hey, I feel bad that you planned the last few dates. I want to spoil you tonight. Let's go to Goister. My treat." I insist. My treat. 2 words. In contract law, that is an offer. By accepting, I created a binding agreement. I was impressed. The Golden Oyster is one of those downtown places where the menu is printed on heavy cardstock and the air conditioning smells like old money. I put on my nice blazer, I shined my boots, I drove downtown, paid the extortionate $40 valet fee, and walked in feeling like a king. I spotted Tiffany at a large circular booth in the back VIP section. But Tiffany wasn't alone. Sitting with her were 3 other women. I recognized the archetype immediately. It was the squad. Subject A, Jessica, already holding a martini, looking at me with disdain. Subject B, scrolling on her phone, ignoring the world. Subject C, Courtney, taking a selfie with a flash, blinding the table. I stopped at the edge of the booth. "Hey," I said, confused. "I thought this was a date?" Tiffany beamed. "It is, but my girls were having a rough week. Jessica just broke up with her boyfriend, and I figured the more the merrier. We can all get to know each other. Kevin, sit here." She patted a tiny, claustrophobic sliver of the booth next to her. Now my internal fraud sensor was screaming, "Alert." Scope of risk has changed without prior underwriting approval. But I didn't want to be rude. I figured, okay, maybe they are just finishing a drink and leaving. I sat down. The waiter arrived. His name was Marco. He looked exhausted. He had the 1,000-yard stare of a man who has dealt with this specific table composition 1,000 times. "We'll start with the Grand Admiral Seafood Tower," Jessica announced without looking at the menu, "and 2 bottles of the Veuve Clicquot." "Make it 3. Courtney added, unparched. Tiffany squeezed my arm. "Kevin, you have to try the Wagyu beef sliders here. They are insane. Let's get 4 orders for the table." I did the math in my head. Seafood Tower, $200. Veuve Clicquot, $120 bottle. Wagyu sliders, $45 plate. We were at nearly $700 before appetizers were even finished. "I'm actually not that hungry," I said clearly, making eye contact with Marco the waiter. "I will just have a Miller Lite and the house salad. Separate from the tower, please." Marco nodded. He understood. He saw me establishing a perimeter. The squad went silent. They looked at me like I'd just insulted their ancestors. "Don't be boring, Kevin," Becky snapped. "It's a celebration." "What are we celebrating?" I asked. "Tuesday," Tiffany chirped. "And friendship." For the next 2 hours, I was invisible. They proceeded to order the entire ocean. Oysters, lobster tails, caviar bumps, yes, that is a real thing and it costs $30 a spoon, steak frites, truffle mac and cheese. They ate like locusts. I nursed my single beer, $9, and picked at my salad, $14. They talked about their ex-boyfriends, their lash technicians, and a guy named Chad, who apparently owns a boat but won't text Jessica back. They didn't ask me a single question. To them, I wasn't a person. I was a payment processor with a pulse. Then, the bill arrived. Marco placed the black leather folder in the dead center of the table. It sat there, radiating menace like a subpoena. Nobody moved. Jessica checked her makeup and her phone camera. Becky started texting aggressively. Courtney looked at the ceiling tiles as if they were the Sistine Chapel. Tiffany looked at me. She smiled that sweet, green flag smile. "So," she said, "that was fun." "It sure was," I said. Silence. "Well?" Tiffany nudged the leather folder toward me with a manicured fingernail. "Well, what?" I asked. "Aren't you gonna get that?" I blinked. "Get what?" "The bill, silly." "Tiffany," I said, keeping my voice calm and level. "You invited me. You sent me a text at 2 p.m. today that said, and I quote, 'I want to spoil you, my treat.'" The squad gasped. Literally gasped. Courtney looked scandalized. "Kevin," Tiffany said, her voice dropping the sweetness and adopting a sharp edge. "I meant I wanted to treat you to my company. You're the man. You're supposed to provide. A gentleman always pays for the first dinner with friends." "This isn't a date," I said. "This is a hostage situation with shellfish." "Excuse me?" Jessica snapped. "You are lucky to be sitting with us. Do you know how much getting ready costs? Our hair, our nails, our outfits? You're paying for the privilege of our presence. It's the cost of entry." "I didn't order your presence," I said. "I ordered a salad." "You're paying," Tiffany hissed. "Don't embarrass me. It's what a provider does. Stop being a broke loser." I reached over and opened the folder. The total was $840.50 before tip. I looked at Tiffany. The mask was gone. I saw the entitlement. I saw the scam. This wasn't a date. This was a foodie call. They wanted a luxury experience, and they had profiled me as the mark who would be too polite to say no in public. My fraud investigator brain took over. Assessment, material misrepresentation, intentional deception, liability denied. "Okay," I said. "You're right. A gentleman handles things." I flagged down Marco. "Excuse me, Marco?" He came over instantly. "Yes, sir?" "I need separate checks, please." The table erupted. It was like I had thrown a grenade into the caviar. "What?" Tiffany shrieked. "Separate checks," I repeated clearly to Marco. "I will be paying for 1 Miller Lite and 1 house salad. These 4 ladies will be splitting the remainder of the balance." "You can't do that," Courtney yelled, slamming her hand on the table. "We didn't bring our wallets." I looked at her. "You came to a restaurant without money?" "We assumed you were handling it," Jessica yelled. "That sounds like a liquidity issue," I said. "Not an insurance issue." I took out a $20 bill and a $5 bill for a tip. I placed them on the table. I stood up. "Sit down." Tiffany grabbed my sleeve, her nails digging into my jacket. "You are humiliating me. Everyone is looking. Just pay it. You have a good job. You work in finance or whatever." "I work in fraud investigation," I corrected, peeling her hand off my blazer. "And I just closed this case. If you leave," Tiffany threatened, her eyes narrowing into slits, "you are never seeing this again." She gestured to her body. "Tiffany," I said, looking her dead in the eye, "I just watched you inhale 6 lobster tails in 12 minutes. I think I'm good." I walked out. The sound of 4 women screaming at each other faded as I exited the restaurant. I walked to the valet, got my car, and drove home. I stopped at Taco Bell on the way because, ironically, the house salad hadn't filled me up. The aftermath. 10:30 p.m. I was home, eating a chalupa in my sweats when my phone started vibrating off the coffee table. Text from Tiffany. "You are a monster. I cannot believe you left us there." Text from Tiffany. "They wouldn't let us leave. The manager called the police. Jessica is crying. You ruined her night. Pick up the phone. Send money." I didn't reply. I just ate my chalupa. It tasted like justice. Then came the text that made it all worth it. "Marco is threatening to press charges for theft of services. He says it's a felony because the bill is over $500. I have a dental license, Kevin. I can't have a record." Ah, there it was, the leverage. Then, a picture came through. It was blurry, taken by Tiffany, likely to guilt me. It showed Becky and Courtney in the back of the restaurant kitchen. They were wearing oversized industrial rubber aprons. They were standing in front of a massive stainless steel sink full of dirty dishes. Text from Tiffany. "We begged him not to call the cops, and he said we have to wash dishes until closing to work off the bill. I am touching old food. I hate you." I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my hot sauce. See, Marco is smart. He knew he wouldn't get the money. But he also knew that 4 influencer types would be terrified of a mugshot. So he gave them a choice. The police, and a permanent record that kills a medical license, or the dish pit. They chose the pit. I replied with one text. Me, don't forget to scrub the lobster pots. Seafood residue can be sticky. A lady always cleans up her mess. Then I blocked her. Update 1. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Tiffany had posted a TikTok. Of course she did. Titled Storytime, the broke loser who left me and my girls stranded. In the video, she claimed I invited them all out, ordered everything myself to show off, and then ran out the back door when my card declined. She cried fake tears, claiming I put them in danger. It had 5,000 likes. The comments were calling for my head. But here's the thing about being a fraud investigator. I keep receipts. Always. I still had the text where she said, "My treat." I still had the text where she admitted, "We begged him not to call the cops." I didn't make a TikTok. I'm 34, not 14. I went to the local city's Facebook group, Dating Red Flags of City Name. I posted the screenshots. Caption, when she says "my treat," but brings the squad and forgets her wallet. Watch out for the Golden Oyster dishwashing team, receipts attached. The internet did its thing. Local servers started commenting. I know that group. They came into my bar last week and tried to say their drinks tasted wrong after drinking half of them. Then, the restaurant manager found the post. Marco, the legend. Marco commented, "I am the manager at Golden Oyster. This man ordered a salad. These women ordered $800 of food and claimed they forgot their purses. They offered to pay me in Instagram exposure. I told them exposure doesn't pay my cooks. I called PD and they begged to work it off to avoid arrest. This man is a hero." Tiffany deleted her TikTok within an hour. Update 2. 3 days later, I got a DM from Jessica, the one who ordered the martini. Jessica, "Hey Kevin, look, I just wanted to say sorry. Tiffany told us you were paying. She said you were begging to take us out to show off. She owes me $200 for my share of the bill. My dad ended up calling and paying the balance after an hour of dishwashing because I was crying. Can you send me the screenshots of her inviting you? I need to prove to the group that she lied." I sent the screenshots. Me, here you go. Maybe get better friends. And bring a wallet next time. Apparently, World War III broke out in their group chat. Jessica posted the screenshots proving Tiffany planned the scam. Courtney realized Tiffany had lied about me, begging to treat them. They all turned on Tiffany for humiliating them, lying to them, and making them touch wet food scraps. The squad has disbanded. Tiffany has been excommunicated. I'm currently single. I saved $820 last Tuesday. I went back to the Golden Oyster yesterday alone. Marco, the manager, saw me walk in. "The legend returns," he shouted. He bought me a beer. "You know," he said, "we usually just ban people, but when they started screaming, 'Do you know who we are?' I figured a little manual labor would be good for their souls. Plus, we were short a dishwasher." "You did the Lord's work, Marco," I said. I drank my free beer. It tasted even better than the chalupa. Gentlemen, learn from this. If she invites you but brings a crowd, leave. If she orders for the table without asking, separate checks. And if she says, "A gentleman always pays," tell her a gentleman also knows when he's being hustled, and always check the fraud indicators. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date tonight. We're going for coffee, just coffee, and I'm bringing cash.